Welcome back, guys. CFL content for the fans, by the fans, and we got a review of Week 15 coming right up. And honestly, it was quite the week of football, but we will get into that. But first, before we get into that, we got to talk about today's sponsor, which is BetStamp. Now, BetStamp is not a traditional sports betting website. It does not offer you one money line. It will actually offer you many money lines from a variety of sources and other betting websites. So that way you can make the most for every bet you make. So make sure when you download it from the App Store, or if you use the link in the description below to the website, you will use code CFL Central, so that way they know that you're coming from us and you're saving money. So that way you can make the most out of your bets and get the biggest possible payout instead of whatever just your app will offer you. So thanks again to BetStamp for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. So yeah, let's get right into it. And our first game of the week was the Edmonton Elks versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and the Elks with an absolute upset of the Riders, 26-24. And the Riders now, I believe, have lost 7 of the past 9 games, so it's not looking great in Saskatchewan. And I gotta quickly check something here, because I remember I heard something about something their coach said after this game. I just want to see it here, and yeah, it looks like he was talking mainly about, just from what I can remember, saying that they just suck. Said it straight. I think it was 3 Down Nation that reported that. And what looks really bad here is that Riders players commented on that post saying that apparently he said one thing to them in the dressing room and then something completely different in the media, and they felt like they just got thrown straight under the bus. So it might be time for him to go, because like that, first off, they're not doing well, but also that doesn't seem very productive. That doesn't seem like a great way to get your team going. Maybe that's him trying to give his team a kick in the ass, but I actually think that that's actually more detrimental towards team morale, and it's going to create some trust issues between the players and the coaching staff on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So I think it might be time to part ways with Craig Dickinson for those comments, and for everything else going on. Saskatchewan needs a bit of a change, because they're a team that shouldn't be playing as poorly as they have. I mean, obviously they had a great performance in Labor Day, but they got killed in the Banjo Bowl, and they lost to Edmonton in this game. And that's not something that should be happening with them. They're now 6-8, and so Riders not with that great of a record going in here. And so I think Saskatchewan's got some stuff to be concerned about. Taylor Cornelius had another great night, averaging 9.9, so almost a first down every throw. And Edmonton was able to consistently put up points throughout this game, with a pretty strong second quarter, putting up 14 points against the Riders, and being able to generally kind of hold them for half the game, because in the second and third quarter they were able to keep them to a field goal or less. Obviously the first and fourth they led up 10 in each, but being able to have at least a few quarters where you can hold them to absolute next of nothing, it forces them to really put bigger pushes in those other quarters, and Saskatchewan just simply wasn't able to do quite enough to bring it back. And so Edmonton with a surprise victory over Saskatchewan. Hopefully they can just do it in a home game sometime. But that will bring us into our next game of the week, which is upset number 2. Hamilton Tiger Cats defeat my favorite Winnipeg Blue Bombers 48-31 in what was truly a fantastic performance by Dane Evans. You know what? I got to give it to them. And this was a game that I'm not going to lie. I thought the Bombers were going to walk over Hamilton here. I will admit it. I was 100% wrong on that. And, I'm upfront about that. I was 100% wrong. And it was mainly just because of the indicators I was given in that Banjo Bowl game, where, it showed that when they were put in a scenario where they were playing a rival, Saskatchewan, that everyone came to play and they just completely wiped the floor with them. And so I thought, because of our history with Hamilton, especially recent history with, 2 Grey Cup wins over them, being kind of an important rivalry esque thing recently. I thought that would be enough to give these players that same kick in the ass to get going, but it didn't. I actually kind of went the opposite way, in which, we had this big win over Saskatchewan, and we were so high on ourselves because of this win that absolutely contributed to this loss. And that does not take away from the fantastic performance by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Hamilton really has needed something for a bit to cheer for, and you know what? I think it's they're showing it. And you know what? What's neat here is now Hamilton's third in the East, 4-9, and then you have the Riders, who are 6-8. Hamilton is still in that possibility where if they have enough strong weeks and Saskatchewan continues to fall, we might not have a crossover. They might be able to close that gap, because if they're able to put up 48 points against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defense, then obviously there's still something left in the tank for them. I mean, they had a very impressive first half of football. 10 points in the first quarter. Bombers also had 10, but this is where it really gets out of hand. Bombers get 4 points in that second quarter, and then Hamilton surges with 24. Being able to go against a defense like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and put up that kind of damage is really, really important. And this was just overall a fantastic game. Felix Garand Goche, my apologies on that. I probably butchered the name. Probably averaged 22 yards per catch on offense. So fantastic performance by him. Brady Oliveira didn't get exactly what he was hoping for. Although overall, Caleros and Dane Evans played well. Like, I know there was a lot of people saying that that this fault was on Caleros throwing interceptions and those turnovers. And that's what cost the Bombers. Was that a problem? Absolutely. Was that acceptable and needs to be fixed? No, it does need to be fixed. That needs to be addressed, because we cannot be giving up those kind of turnovers, especially when it's seemingly all of them turn into touchdowns. But if you take all of those turnovers that they gave up, the Bombers gave up, and you add the points that were gained from all those, Hamilton still, and you subtract them from the points that Hamilton got. So take that away. Hamilton alone, without our turnovers, still gets over 30 points in that game. So that's showing that it wasn't just dumb luck that Hamilton played the way they did. They really they put their A game into it, and they beat the team to beat. Winnipeg Blue Bombers 48-31. Impressive performances. Congratulations to Dane Evans on that, seriously. And then we got our last game of the week, which for some people was a surprise. I actually predicted this. BC would beat Calgary 31-29. Now, I believe, I could be wrong here, I believe I predicted that it was going to be under a field goal difference, and it was. 2 points, final in overtime. Vernon Adams Jr. has that game that he needs with the BC Lions, where he gets 294 yards, averages 9.2 per throw. And yeah, overall a solid game for him, and that's just kind of what they need. They need that solid performance. Doesn't need to be truly outstanding. And, hope that Nathan Rourke is able to come back and get ready come playoffs. James Butler was all right. Brian Burnham had a very impressive night with 100 yards, 14.3 on average for 7 carries. Very good performance by him. Jake Mayer was still pretty solid through 3 touchdowns. And Kadeem Carey was okay, and Malik Henry was definitely leading that receiving game with 26.8 on average, 107 yards, 4 receptions. Very good game for Malik Henry. And it's kind of funny because this entire game, both team kind of was taking turns with who was going to come to play. Like for example, first quarter, Lions get 10, Stamps get 3. Second quarter, almost polar opposite, 10 for the Stamps. Nothing for the Lions. Lions then get 10 in the third quarter, opening up that second half. Stamps get nothing. And then that final quarter, the Stamps would get 10, and then the Lions would get 8. Not 8. They would get 3. But then you go to overtime. Calgary is able to get the touchdown, but BC gets the touchdown and the 2-point convert, because remember, CFL overtime, you have to go for the 2-point conversion. There is no kick. So very, very big nail biter of a game. I got to imagine that this was a great game to watch. I wasn't able to watch this one, sadly. I had to look at some highlights and, talk to some people about it that were more into the lines or the stamps about this. But overall, fantastic game to finish off that week. And we'll be excited for this next one. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys in the next time.